The Caribbean Islands, a string of islands located in the Gulf of Mexico, is known for their vibrant culture that includes colorful attires, jolly dances, and a wide variety of world-famous Caribbean cuisine. All that aside for a while, did you know that the Caribbean region is home to a sizable Hindu population? Hindus in the Caribbean have their own way of making sure that Sanatan Dharma prevails in their region. They have multiple beautiful temples and they celebrate Hindu festivals with great enthusiasm. In this series developed by TFI, we trace back to the story of how Hindus traveled to different countries across the planet, settled there, and made it their home. In the previous editions, we covered the story of Hinduism in the nations of Fiji, Mauritius, and Suriname. The fourth on our list is the picturesque and vibrant Caribbean islands. So how did Hindus arrive in the Caribbean islands? And what is their status currently? Well, let's find out. Hi and welcome. You're watching TFI English, the national socio-political analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm Siddharth, your host. In this video, I will talk about the history of Hinduism in the Caribbean islands. Let's begin. Caribbean islands are often seen as a place of leisure where tourists hop across to enjoy the warm climate and lay by the water bodies to enjoy their vacations. The people in the Caribbean are mostly in the party mode, open-hearted and frank in conversation. There is no mystery that a majority of the population living on these islands has come from India and made it an effervescent and bubbly region that it is today. Akin to other foreign nations with a sizable Hindu populace, the Caribbean islands were introduced to Indians and the Hindu faith by the colonists. After slavery was abolished in the 19th century, European-owned sugar plantations of the West Indies desperately needed new workers. They wanted cheap and skilled laborers fast. The Indian laborers were well acclimatized to the warm conditions of the Caribbean and thus became the outright choice for the system of indentured labor. On the 5th of May in 1838, a British ship named the Whitby reached Guyana with 249 human cargo, who all set sail from Calcutta 3 months prior. This was the first contingent of Indians, mostly from the state of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, to land in the islands. Over the next 80 years, more than 5 lakh Indians would make the trip to the Caribbean as indentured servants, primarily to places such as Guyana, Jamaica, Suriname, and Trinidad, amongst others. Despite the cruel practice of shipping laborers thousands of miles away from their homelands, the majority of them preferred to stay put in their respective Caribbean countries, primarily because of the presence of casteless society and that they had the opportunity to clean the slate and start from the scratch. The arrival of Indians brought a completely new culture where religion, language, and social customs marked their unique identity. From the inception, they were considered different from the cultural groups already associated with Western orientation. Since Hindus were over 90% of the migrated Indians in the islands, Hinduism flourished and so did the sacred Vedic literature. Ramayana and Mahabharata became an integral part of the upbringing of Hindu nationals in the countries. The reading of these sacred texts and singing of bhajans and kirtans to Hindu devas and devis such as Ram, Krishna, Shiva, Lakshmi, Saraswati and Durga bring the community together even today. Private pujas and public yajnas narrate the Bhagavad Katha, creating a feeling of community. Deepavali and Holi are national holidays in several island nations. However, Hindus, despite their laid-back and hard-working nature, were opposed by a few. They were especially ill-treated by local Christian communities, which saw them as primitives and idolaters, as do most Abrahamic faiths. Even today, the Hindus in the islands have to withstand the hostility of Christian communities that are far more dominant locally. Moreover, they also face stiff hostility from the Afro-Caribbean communities, which resented them for ending the negotiation advantage they had historically enjoyed with the plantation owners. According to a recent survey, Hindus constitute 16.6% of the national population of 1.4 million people of Trinidad and Tobago. The Edinburgh Hindu temple in Chaguanas and the Shiv Kailash temple of Kaparo are some of the most popular Hindu temples famous amongst Indian locals and tourists alike. As for Guyana, Hinduism is the religion of almost 25% of Guyana's population, making it the country with the highest percentage of Hindus in the Western Hemisphere. However, it is a stark reduction from the 35% Hindu population in 1991. Similarly, Jamaica was once home to 25,000 Hindus until the mid-20th century. However, most of them were converted to Christianity by the missionaries actively working in the region. In the last few decades, the population of Hindus in Jamaica decreased steeply. In the 1970s, only 5,000 identified themselves as Hindus, and as of 2018, some 1,800 are left on the island. In 2017, Nathan Pandit, who was believed to be the only Hindu priest in Jamaica, was murdered under mysterious circumstances. While Hindus are comparatively dwindling in Jamaica, Hinduism is the second most practiced religion in Suriname, comprising 22.3% of the population. The Indians brought their eating habits and spices to the Caribbean countries as well. Consequently, the local cuisine by the African slaves was altered even further. Some signature Indian dishes like roti, aloo pies, chokas and folori form the staple diet of locals. As a cricket-loving nation, one can easily identify the Indian origin players playing for the island countries. Shiv Narayan Chandapal, Ravi Rampal and Dinesh Ramdin are a few of the popular West Indian cricketers who come from all parts of the island and have a strong Indian connection. Faced with the elimination of their identities and ways of life, the gritty Caribbean Hindu population has become more devout in their practice over the years. One can identify a Hindu family easily by looking at their houses, which have flags hoisted atop their terraces, signifying their devotion towards Hindu gods. It is also a generous reminder that Hinduism arrived here 150 years ago, survived and thrived, and it is not going away anytime soon.